So I've officially been selling on TCGPlayer for 4 months. A lot has changed. I have had to grow and learn a lot with the business. I had watched lots of videos before. I still continue to watch videos because I always want to stay teachable. I have had to learn shipping treatments that I never thought I would know. I have had to learn new customer service skills, even though I've spent most of my adult life in customer service. There's always something new, and that has been a super rewarding part of this business and this journey, but also troubling. So I want to take you through what the 4-month mark has been like for me, how much sales I've done, the things I've had to learn, and just my feeling and vibe overall. Also, becoming a content creator. You know, I used to hate the sound of my own voice, and now I enjoy making content. I think it's pretty fun, and I like the little community that I'm starting to build. You'll have to forgive me, my son brought home, I think, a cold from school, so my voice is shot. I look like trash, but we're gonna make the video anyway, and we're gonna be here for the ride. My name is India, this is Cardona Comics, and let's get into the video. So I've stated in previous videos that I started selling on TCGPlayer on Black Friday of 2025. I had some extra cards when I got back into Magic. I opened the Avatar set because I was a huge fan of that IP, and also I hadn't played Magic in roughly 10 years, so I wanted to see how things had changed and what new sets were available. My first sales were definitely unanticipated and a little rocky, so I went online, I did a lot of research, I watched a ton of videos from different creators, some of whom now I am a part of their community and they're a part of mine, and I'm very blessed to have their influence in my life. Since I started selling, a lot has changed in my personal life as well. I have a now 1-year-old and 2-year-old, a boy and a girl, that I love to death. A big motivating factor for doing this business is to contribute to my household and to our overall financial status. I know that running a business and starting it definitely costs money up front, and I have yet to become profitable, but I've talked to my husband about it. He is very excited that I am so passionate about this project, and I want to see it through. Either it's going to work or it doesn't. Either way, I have to find out. I've also cut off all my hair from my first video and lost about 20 pounds, so you know, things are generally going in a positive direction. So when I first started out selling on TCGPlayer, I only did Magic because that's what I was most comfortable and familiar with. I had a lot of Magic bulk and I had bought Magic bulk at that point, so that's what I was listing. I have learned that Pokemon does have a lot to offer. It is a very different beast and a different market. You know, a lot of Magic cards, you would never know they're valuable because you have to play the game to know that they have value in their play. Pokemon is much more of a collector's hobby. There are people who play the game, and I definitely sell a lot of playable cards now, but it has more of a face value. The shiny cards are more expensive. The full art cards are higher value, where in Magic, sometimes foils can be lower cost, especially with the newer printings and the foils turning into the Pringles shape people talk about, where it bows really bad. I'll get into it a little bit later, but increasing my amount of Pokemon stock has actually been a huge boon to my business. And I had heard for a long time that just having thousands and thousands of cards, the more you have, the more you sell. And I didn't realize how true that was until I actually got to that point. So let's get down to the brass tacks. In the 4 months that I've been selling from Black Friday of 2025 to now, I have done $2,887.11 in gross sales. Net sales minus fees is $2,309.08. With everything all together, all of the shipping supplies, sourcing the inventory, I'm still about $600 in the hole, but overall, we are on track to become positive very, very soon, and I am very excited about that. Part of what has kept me from reaching profitability sooner is just some poor business decisions at first. I don't really deal in sealed products, I do mostly singles. And so trying to navigate that singles market, especially in Pokemon where it's so tumultuous, has been a huge learning curve for me. My lifetime orders is 492, so just shy of 500. And I think for the ratio of orders to net profits, it's pretty good overall. Most of the cards I sell are between 50 cents and $3. I have had occasionally a $50 card or a $10 card, but those are few and far between. A lot of my bread and butter is bulk, and I honestly love it. I like pulling cards. I like having, lots of 4 or 5 row boxes full. It's been a really new and exciting experience for me. So to touch on the content aspect, everyone says it, and it really is true that just get started, just keep doing it. The more you do it, the better you'll get, the better your on-camera presence is. And I have certainly noticed that in the time that I've been doing this. I've only been making content for a few months now. I wanted to get into it pretty early in my selling journey because I heard that was the way to sell even more, was to cultivate this community. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first started making content, that was all it was for. I just wanted to sell more cards. And now I see the community that has grown and the communities I have become a part of, and I would enjoy doing this even if I wasn't selling cards on the side. I'm not a very extroverted person. I prefer to just go through my day and not be perceived. If I was in a room, ideally, you would never know I was there because I would stick to myself, I would do what I need to do, and I would leave. I'm human, I have a past, I have a history, and I always thought that that would hold me back from being able to be a front-facing or public figure. But at 31 years old, I have learned that you cannot let that stuff chain you down. You can't let those mistakes create your future. And I'm willing to go ahead and try, no matter what the comments say or what people think of me. Again, I really want to apologize if my voice is just grating. I know I'm sick, I don't sound the best, but I really wanted to come on and make this video because I'm at that 4-month mark and really just to timestamp it for myself. I want to be able to come back here when I'm a year in, 2 years in, and see how things have changed and how things are different. The bulk game has had a lot of controversy lately with people saying that it's not worth it or how do you make any money doing this? But when you're buying cards at 2-3 cents, for Pokemon EX cards are 40 cents a pop, and reselling it for 25 cents, 30 cents, or on the EXP, and you're doing $1 to $5, sometimes $10. There is money to be made. You just have to be able to work for it. I think bulk will always be a part of my business strategy. When you get into higher end collections and cards, conditioning becomes much more of a problem. If you have a condition dispute on a 20-cent card, it's not the end of the world. But if you have a condition dispute on a $50, $100, $300 card, I haven't had to deal with that yet, but I know it exists. That becomes much more of a problem, and I'm not sure when I'll be ready to deal with that. I am excited that so far I've had about 3 or 4 orders from my TCGPlayer Pro store, so I pay less fees in that, and that means that those orders are coming directly from my viewers, and that makes me so excited because that means that somebody took the time to watch my content, follow through with my website, and place an order. That's really cool to me. Other things that have changed has been starting my vending machine in my local LGS. They opened a new location still within our town, and I talked to the owners. I've been buying from them, for a few months now, and I built kind of a rapport with them, and they said that they would be okay with me installing this machine in their business. I pay them 10%, and so far so good. We're making a couple bucks here and there. It's just one more way for me to diversify where my money is coming from. Ideally, I'd like to start selling on eBay soon. I know that you can get more for certain cards on eBay compared to TCGPlayer, but I've never sold anything on eBay before. My one experience was back in the day. I had my collection of Pokemon cards from childhood. I knew that some of them were worth something, so I tried to go on eBay and sell them with just some crappy phone pictures and not really knowing anything about conditioning. And I had bots buy them, I guess. They would buy it, but then private message you and ask about, you know, oh, I need to send a check or do crypto or whatever. And it was very shady. It never ended up working out. And that's my experience with eBay. So I'm hoping to try again and have better luck this time. I actually already started and I need to finish Rar TCG's video. He just posted one about a beginning to sell on eBay, and he generally has really good videos. Him and PokePaster have been a huge influence in my career, you know, as short as it is in this space, and have greatly benefited my knowledge. So now I want to talk about one of the best decisions I've made for my business. I bought about 10,000 bulk Pokemon cards, all common, uncommon, non-holo, nothing special, nothing fancy, just SV era cards. There was a little bit of Crown Zenith, but most of it was SV era. I sorted about 5,000 of those by hand, and eventually I just could not do it anymore. I do not have that kind of time. I have 2 kids under 2 years old, and it was taking too much. So what happens when you're already overwhelmed? You buy even more cards. I ended up taking the 5,000 unsorted that I had. I bought another 4,000, and I went up to Dallas because I went on the Fizzbatch website. You know, I would love to have one of those machines someday, but obviously I can't afford a $30,000 machine right now. So I went on Fizzbatch's website. They have a roster of places that you can go that do have a machine and rent out time on one. And I went to Boardwalk Games in Dallas, Texas, and they were able to sort all of my bulk in 2 days. I had them sort it alphabetically because I had already set sorted it. So, you know, if you do a little bit of prep, that works out well. I will say from there, you do have to further alphabetize it to get it, you know, as ready as possible for listing, and also to confirm the cards it has listed in your inventory. I did run into some problems when I initially uploaded that CSV of there not being the right amount of cards or the right type of cards, especially with like Ascended Heroes, the Pokeball foiling versus the energy symbol foiling. It had a really hard time picking that up. And I did have to turn my store off to, you know, reevaluate and double check what all I actually had. But let me tell you, once I got everything sorted out, I bought some extra EX cards on top of that, so I'd have a very broad category. I had about 18,000 cards listed. The jump in the amount of orders that I get daily from 7,000 cards listed to 17,000 cards listed is enormous. When I had 7,000 cards listed, I would get maybe 2 or 3 orders per day, and it wasn't doing so hot. I was really concerned. I was like, man, I've made this mistake. I've spent all this money on bulk and it's not moving. I don't know what to do with it. With 17,000 cards listed, I now average about 10 to 15 orders per day. And it's not like they're even better, newer cards. It's mostly the same bulk cards, but because I have a deeper inventory, the cart optimizer on TCGPlayer can push and promote my store more so now than it could before. That has been one of the biggest factors in the growth and success of my store. So let me just throw some numbers at you. From April 3rd to April 6th, I opened my store back up, and I had it closed for about 2 weeks because I was working on the vending machine, and that was taking a lot of time on its own, especially painting the murals on it, getting it stocked, all of that ready. So I reopened on the 3rd. I had it open until the 6th. In those 3 days, I got 46 orders. I grossed $397.16 and netted $323.29 after fees. That is by far my best weekend. Even pre-releases, like the pre-release week for Lorwyn Eclipsed, nothing holds a candle to that, and it's just bulk Pokemon cards. It's nothing special, but that is the power of listing everything. Listing all of your cards, no matter the value. I used to do a 15-cent floor for every card. I have now upped that to 20 cents. I have also changed my prices from market price to 8% over market price on the TCGPlayer marketplace. It's still 5% under if you go on my pro site, so just a little incentive to shop there. But adding this much inventory has been a huge eye-opener for me, and now 4 months in, I will be buying every bulk lot that I can possibly get my hands on. You know, I'm either gonna sell it on TCGPlayer, hopefully on eBay soon, or in my vending machine. One of those three, it's gonna get cards, they're going to move. I don't have to worry about dead cards just taking up space. As far as other metrics, I believe I have about 58 subscribers now on my YouTube channel. I have about 196 Instagram followers and about 330 TikTok followers. So obviously nowhere close to like thousands yet, but we're on our way, you know, we're gonna get there. And I think for 4 months of being in business, you know, with TCGPlayer, and probably about 3 honest months of doing content, I think it's pretty good. You know, I make a lot of shorts content because it's easier and choppier. I like to talk pretty fast, so that medium lends itself to that. When I do these long form videos, I definitely have to dial it back and control how fast my thoughts and my speech are going. I'd also like to think that I can crack a joke or spin a yarn every now and then, and shorts is the perfect medium for that. However, the metrics for getting your shorts monetized is insane. It is millions and millions of views in a 90-day period, whereas long form videos, you get, you know, so many hundreds of hours of views in a year. So unless your shorts are just bangers every single time, I don't think it's going to be a viable option to pursue shorts as your method to monetization. I use shorts more as promotion for my long form videos and for my storefront. And because as a busy mom of 2, I don't have a lot of time to film long form videos. I'm recording this at 11:30 at night. My kids are asleep. I am sick, but here we are. You know, it's hard enough trying to find time to sort bulk and package orders, and then on top of that, you're also trying to film content and keep up with the social media landscape. It's kind of a lot, but I like it. This is what I want to do. You know, my kids aren't really old enough to rip packs with me yet. My oldest is 2 and some change, so right now they just play with energy cards, and my 1-year-old chews them to mush. But someday they will be old enough, and I really hope that my business continues to grow and that I'll be able to share my passion for trading cards with them and, you know, give that to the next generation. Hopefully by that time, this bull market will kind of slow down and maybe packs won't be $20, $30, but we'll see. Overall, I'm really looking forward to the future of this business and of this space. I have been into Pokemon cards the longest. I used to collect them as a kid. I had a binder and, you know, I sold that when my son was born, my oldest. I sold it because I thought, you know what? I'm almost 30. I don't need Pokemon cards, but I do need money for my baby. And I don't regret that decision at all. But now I'm ready to get back into it. You know, I was actually telling my friend at the local card store that I had some really cool cards that I would love to get back in my collection at some point, but it's actually been kind of refreshing not having any cards and having to start from scratch. It's like a new chance to fall back in love with it all over again. There's a ton of cards that have come out in the time since I left the hobby to now, and it's been really cool to re-experience and re-fall in love with trading cards, especially Magic. I mean, geez, it's been, what, 10 years since I played, and lots of sets have come out. Lots of different mechanics have been introduced, and it is a whole different landscape. You know, I used to play Standard in the store, and now the only thing they play in the store is Commander. There's all this lore to catch up on. This new Strixhaven set looks really cool, but I wasn't around for the first one. So I'm having to like go back and learn all of the lore and mechanics and how it was received at the time and how things have changed. All of that just tickles my neurons in the right way, and I really like diving in. So between all the new Magic sets and Pokemon celebrating 30 years, we're all officially old. I can't wait to see where the next 30 years take us. I can't wait to see where Pokemon and Magic are when my kids are having kids. It's an exciting time to be in this hobby and to look forward to the future of this hobby, especially with all these new card games coming out. You know, you have One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh's going through a whole like resurgence, and they're doing art cards and all kinds of special events. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it with you. And I hope you come along for the journey. Again, I appreciate everyone watching. I appreciate all the love. Every day, this seems more and more like something I'll someday be able to do full time, and being able to do something I love, that is what I have been looking for in my life. That is what I want my kids to see me doing. I want them to see me making my own path and building my own way, and I want them to know that they can do it too. So again, my name is India. This is CardonaComicsTCG, and I appreciate y'all coming along for the ride. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.